Hey everyone, and welcome to RUBIN'S Mind Lab, where we break down the latest research into what it really means. Ever wonder why it's so hard to move past a fight or forgive someone who's hurt you? Well, this new study might have a clue. They're exploring how getting what you need after a conflict changes your feelings and makes you more willing to make up. So people get angry when their needs aren't met, especially after a fight. This anger makes it super tough to forgive and forget. This research suggests that if someone's needs are met after that hurt, even if it's not the person who caused the problem, it can calm down that anger. We'll see how this works. Imagine this: you're off sick, and when you get back, your colleague has taken over your big projects. Not only that, but they use your absence to get ahead and might have even cost you a promotion. You feel your status is ruined, and when you talk to them, they don't even take responsibility. You're so angry you can't even think about making up, even though you have to keep working together. This is the kind of situation these researchers wanted to understand. When we're in a conflict, negative feelings like anger really get in the way of resolving things. Science calls this emotion regulation. And other research points out that we also need our psychological needs met, like feeling respected or treated fairly to move on from conflicts. These scientists decided to put these two ideas together. They thought, what if meeting our needs after a conflict is actually a way of secretly managing our emotions? When our needs are hurt, we feel bad emotions like anger. So maybe fulfilling those needs calms our anger and helps us forgive. Anger, in particular, is a big one. It can make conflicts even worse, leading to arguments and making it harder to ever be friends again. Usually, when we think about dealing with anger, we think about consciously trying to calm ourselves down, like telling ourselves to take a deep breath or thinking differently about the situation. This is called explicit emotion regulation. But there is also implicit emotion regulation. This happens without us even trying to change how we feel. It's like your emotions just shift on their own. And the big idea here is that meeting those unmet needs could be what triggers this implicit emotion regulation. If your need for respect was hurt, getting that respect back might automatically lower your anger. We all have basic psychological needs, like feeling safe, competent, or connected to others. When these needs are ignored or hurt, especially in a conflict, it's hard to move forward. Scientists like Schnabel and Nadler talk about how important it is to meet the specific needs of everyone involved in a conflict, both the person who was hurt and the person who caused the hurt. So, our researchers are building on this by proposing that meeting needs is a way to implicitly regulate emotions and boost reconciliation. When our needs aren't met, we feel bad emotions and our overall well-being suffers. They focused on anger because, as we know, anger is a major roadblock to making peace. Think about it. When something unfair happens, we appraise it as unfair, and that can lead to anger. If our status is attacked, we see that as a loss of status, which also often leads to anger. So, if fulfilling those needs changes how we appraise the situation, it could change our anger. They ran 5 experiments to test this. In the first 3, they used made-up situations to see if meeting a hurt need like status or justice would calm anger and make people more willing to reconcile. Experiment 4 involved a real-life unjust experience, and Experiment 5 looked at what happens when a third person, not the offender, helps meet the need. Their main ideas were that unmet needs cause anger. Meeting those needs reduces anger, and reducing anger then makes people more open to reconciliation. Let's dive into Experiment 1. They created a workplace scenario for about 355 people where a colleague took credit for their work and potentially jeopardized their promotion. So participants read this story where their status at work was clearly threatened by a colleague named Anat. Anat had stepped up while they were on medical leave and basically took over their projects, making it look like they were being pushed out. This made participants feel their professional status was diminished. Before anything else, they measured how people felt about their status. They also asked what was the main emotion they felt. And they rated how much anger, sadness, disgust, guilt, shame, and regret they felt. They also measured how willing they were to make up with Anat. Now, for the key part, some participants learned that Anat actually complimented their professional skills in a meeting. This was supposed to fulfill their damaged need for status. Other participants didn't get this positive feedback. And guess what? When status was threatened, anger was the most common emotion people chose. See here, anger was rated much higher than other negative emotions. Now, for the big reveal. When Anat's positive feedback fulfilled their need for status, anger went down. Look at this graph. The blue line, representing when the need was fulfilled, shows anger dropping significantly compared to the orange line where the need wasn't met. And when anger went down, people became more willing to reconcile with Anat. This little diagram shows it clearly. Fulfilling the need for status lowered anger, and that lowered anger led to more willingness to reconcile. It's like a chain reaction. They also looked at whether it was just anger that decreased or other emotions too. It turned out fulfilling the need for status really focused on reducing anger more than other feelings like sadness or guilt. Even though disgust also decreased a bit, the anger reduction was the really strong effect. They did a similar experiment, experiment 1B, to make sure the results weren't just a fluke. They mostly found the same thing, fulfilling the need for status really did lower anger and increase willingness to reconcile, even when they measured things a bit differently. In experiment 2, they wanted to be extra sure that it was about fulfilling the specific need that was hurt. So they had one group get compliments about their professional skills, which was the need that had been harmed. Another group got compliments about their interpersonal skills, which wasn't the issue in the scenario. So one group got praise for being professional, hitting that damaged status need. The other group got praise for being a nice person, which wasn't the problem here. And again, only when the harm need for status was fulfilled did anger significantly decrease. See how in figure 7b, the blue line fulfilled need shows a big drop in anger, while the orange line unharmed need doesn't drop nearly as much. And as expected, that reduction in anger from fulfilling the correct need led to a greater willingness to reconcile. Now, let's switch gears to relationships. In experiment 3, they looked at another need, justice. They set up a scenario where a participant's partner was unfairly critical about a dinner preparation mistake. In the fulfillment group, the partner later publicly acknowledged the participant's hard work and thanked them for making the dinner a success. This was meant to restore the sense of justice. And just like before, a lack of justice led to anger. As you can see in figure 10, anger was the dominant emotion when justice was compromised. When the partner acknowledged their efforts, thereby fulfilling the need for justice, anger levels drop significantly. Figure 9b shows this clearly. The blue line shows a substantial drop in anger when justice was restored. And this reduction in anger, thanks to restored justice, increased willingness to reconcile. For experiment 4, they wanted to see if this worked in a real, not just hypothetical situation. They created a task where participants earned a bonus, but then a computer glitch caused them to lose almost all of it. This created a real sense of injustice and anger, so participants worked hard on a task and were supposed to get a bonus. Then, a software bug made it look like they only earned a tiny amount, causing a huge sense of injustice. In the fulfillment group, the researchers apologized and said they would give them the maximum bonus, restoring fairness. In the no-fulfillment group, they just said they couldn't do anything about it. And as you can see in figure 14b, those who had their sense of justice restored showed a massive drop in anger. Look at that steep drop in anger in figure 14b. For the fulfilled need group. And this anger reduction made them much more willing to interact with the researchers again. Finally, experiment 5 asks a crucial question. Does the person who hurt you have to be the one to fix your need, or can someone else do it? They used the workplace scenario again, where a colleague got a promotion the participant deserved. In this experiment, the need fulfillment wasn't from the colleague who took the promotion. Instead, months later, a manager gave the participant an even more prestigious promotion. This fulfilled their need for status and justice. And the results were striking. Even though the original offender didn't apologize or offer anything, having their needs for status and justice met by a manager significantly lowered their anger. Figure 16c shows a huge drop in general anger when the needs were met, even by someone else. And interestingly, offender-directed anger also went down. This anger reduction, even from a third party, led to increased willingness to reconcile with the original offender. So, what's the big takeaway here? These studies consistently show that when our needs for status or justice are hurt in a conflict, we get angry. But if those needs are met even by someone else, our anger calms down and we become more open to forgiving and moving on. This research links need fulfillment and emotion regulation in a really interesting way. It suggests that meeting our inherent needs is an automatic way our emotions can be regulated, helping us resolve conflicts. This is a form of interpersonal emotion regulation, but it's not about consciously trying to change someone's feelings. It is more subtle. The key is that meeting the need, whether by the offender or a third party, can reduce negative emotions without necessarily erasing the initial wrongdoing. It's about creating a path forward. This is huge. It means that reconciliation doesn't always have to depend on the two people directly involved. A manager, a mediator, a friend, they can all play a role in helping to meet those emotional needs and de-escalate conflict. Of course, like all research, this study has its limits. The findings are mostly from Western cultures, so they might not apply everywhere. Also, they focused on anger, status, and justice. Other emotions like fear or disgust and other needs like belongingness might work differently. But the core message is powerful. When our needs are unmet, especially our needs for respect and fairness, anger blossoms. And when those needs are finally met, that anger withers, opening the door to reconciliation. The fact that a third party fulfilling a need could reduce anger towards the original offender is particularly interesting. It suggests that even if the offender doesn't make amends directly, if the victim's core needs are met, they might be more inclined to forgive. Future research could explore how we think about these situations, our appraisals, and how they connect our unmet needs to our emotions. What this research really highlights for me is the power of validation. When we feel seen and our core needs are acknowledged and met, it doesn't just make us feel good, it fundamentally changes our emotional state, making us less hostile and more open to connection. So next time you're in conflict or see someone else struggling, think about what need might be unmet. Meeting that need, even in a small way, could be the first step towards healing. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Robin's Mind Lab for more science breakdown, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching!